Hey, come in here close. Come in close because I'm mad. I'm really mad.
You mad?
Yes, 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 I am.
What you mad about?
Ain't nobody told me before I got married
Uh-huh.
that there were some issues that just weren't going away. In other words, as the psychologist said, they be perpetual. They just gonna be there.
Yes, sir.
Why ain't nobody tell me?
Well,
Why
that's
ain't you
life.
tell me?
Well, that's life.
No,
The
no,
truth
no,
be
no.
told, that's life,
I did
man.
not know that some issues are just gonna be there.
Yep. Well, sometimes we think our marriage is having issues because some conflicts are perpetual. They do keep coming up time after time, but that don't mean your marriage is in
Now,
trouble.
no, it's not in trouble. It's
Okay.
not in trouble.
All
It's not
right.
in trouble.
Don't mean
There's
it's
some things you
over.
can do, and there's some things that we don't know what to do. So
That's
one of
good.
the things that we have people who come to us for coaching is the difference between one is real neat and the other one is real organized.
Mm-hmm.
Neatness and organized.
Mm.
She looking at me.
I don't know if that's either
Uh,
one of us, but okay. So tonight we're talking about perpetual issues. That's what you're
perpetual
trying to
issue,
say.
things that
Okay.
just gonna happen in the marriage and it may never go away. So we're gonna try to prepare you since ain't nobody told me that
Mm-hmm.
some of them things,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's when I found out my wife, whenever I do something that's a little off, she took me a minute to figure it out.
Well, the ladies know what I'm talking about when I say
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
that's really good communication. The ladies know. We over here just
Ah.
scratching our head. But I know what it is. When your woman says, that means you done said something. That means, oops, I'm in trouble. So we
Okay.
could talk about being neatness and organized.
Okay.
All right. What do you think about that? Because, we always talk about not compromising, just understanding that you may have a neat freak, right? And
Mm-hmm.
they may want to, impose that on you. You know how I'll just put my clothes down next to my bed when I get out. I'll
Mm-hmm.
just leave them right there because they're going to end the dirty clothes. I'm trying to relax, and you think I see your face. See, that's when the moon is. Yeah. Why you got to leave them on the side of the bed?
Well,
I
I
ain't asking you to pick them up.
yeah. Well, I have to confess though, because I would be wondering. Okay, the dirty clothes hamper is right here next to the bed, and you still putting your clothes on the floor. I don't get that. But
And being married, you ain't got to
after
get
after
everything.
20 some years, I finally decided, okay, well, that's one of those things I don't have to. I'm not gonna bother myself about anymore.
It took my wife like 6 months after we were first married. I just lay something somewhere, and then she finally got frustrated. Well, why can't you so and so? And I was like, I'm a grown man. I didn't ask you to pick up after me. I'll just leave it there. I'll get it up. But your neatness, I had to say, oh, this really bothers her. So, all right, she got me the basket to put against the wall so I could throw my clothes in there,
Hmm.
so they wouldn't be on the floor. And don't act like I'm the only brother out here or sister that'll just sometimes just put your clothes, take them off, and they'll stay right there until the morning.
Hey, well, we all have our things that work each other one way or the other, and being a neat freak or being organized, I just think it's a personal preference. Um, as long as sometimes those clothes get up off the floor and get make it to the washing machine, I'm good. You know.
That's the same thing I do because I'm doing the washing too.
Hmm.
We're talking about organization. Um, that's one of the things that we had in the marriage. At the beginning of our marriage, I kept a checkbook. So the
Oh, we
checkbook,
we gonna
as
do
y'all
that
know,
again.
has a
Oh my.
register,
Oh my.
on the side,
Hmm.
and we had the one that had the white piece of paper and the thing when you wrote on it, a copy. It would make the copy of what you do. So
Hmm.
one day, when we were going over our purpose and our money, my wife said, "Why you didn't put this on the register?" And because I would just put, I'm like, well, there's the white copy right here. You know what I mean? But for her, it was like, no, you got to use the register. And I'm like, the money is right to the penny. But no, you have to use the register. So what did we do? What did I do?
You let me have it.
See,
The responsibility became mine
the
to
responsibility to put it on the
to put it on the
register.
register
We still do the
became
bills
mine.
together. I
Yeah,
hope somebody
yeah.
catch that out there. See,
Mhm.
I'm a bro. I ain't got to have the checkbook to be in charge. I don't want to
Right.
say in charge.
Well,
What we do as
we both
partners.
are in charge.
Yeah.
We work it
So it don't
together
matter who has the
that way.
checkbook.
But and here's the important thing. This is why we decided to work it together because some people uh, may have, like me, been through the situation where your like my late spouse had control of the checkbook and that sort of thing. So when he passed, I was not aware of all the things that were going on financially because he took care of all of that.
I'm
Um,
gonna stop you right there.
mhm,
That's not anybody out there. That's one of my pet peeves. That's as a man. That's not taking care of everything because when something happens, if I get sick,
mhm,
you will not be able to handle it.
yeah.
So I didn't prepare you
Well,
as my spouse and as my helpmate and as my ride or die.
yeah.
You don't
And
know what's going on.
that's what happened.
Yeah, and
That's what
I see
happened.
that in marriages sometimes where people be like, "Well, I just let him or her
Mhm,
handle that."
mhm,
That's not a
mhm.
partnership. That's not what God called us to do, and it's just not rational when you don't know what's going on.
Yeah,
Some
yeah.
people have that in their culture,
Mhm,
but
mhm.
if you believe in the Word of God, it's a partnership. So we need to know what's going on.
And that's what happened. And so in our relationship, we decided we both would keep each other aware of what was going on so that if at any time, it don't necessarily have to be death, it could be sickness, it could be, in some cases, dementia, Alzheimer's. We know that's a very real thing these days. And so you need to know what's going on.
She learned
So,
from her
yeah.
past mistakes. She said, "I ain't letting this happen again. Let's keep it real."
Mm,
Say,
well,
like, I
you
ain't
know,
doing this
when you
again.
learn better, you
Bruh.
do better, right? Is that
And that's
right?
why we're here to tell you
Mhm.
about these kind of things that you just don't really think about. You've been taught that, hey, uh, this is a man's job, this is a woman's job,
Yeah.
and what do we call
It's
those? They're
roles.
roles. And at
Roles.
the
Hmm.
beginning of a relationship, you should establish instead of saying that's what he or she's supposed to do. No, before we went through counseling, we said, "Hey, I would like to do this,"
Yeah, come up with your
and
own roles.
yeah, make
Hmm.
your own roles. Don't let
That
society, because you'll be
yeah, that
disappointed.
works for your
Yeah, you'll be
relationship.
very
And
disappointed.
all of that's part of that organization. It kind of helps you see things in a better light. It also keeps you both aware of what's going on. It keeps you both in the light. And it just helps everybody to avoid confusion.
All right, the next one, number two.
Hmm.
Number two, emotional expression.
Okay, y'all. We still talking about perpetual issues
Things
here.
that are just, if you marry someone and you come and you say they don't communicate, I'm always confused because I'm saying he communicated enough to, if you have premarital sex, he communicated enough for you to go out to dinner. He communicated, or she communicated with you enough to get you to marry her. So what happened?
Yeah, because think about it. When you were dating, you spent hours on the phone, or hours in each other's company, talking and discussing things. Now you get married and you ain't got nothing to say. Yeah, something has happened there, you know.
And that can be perpetual in your marriage if that's how you started off. because in the beginning, that's what you're teaching each other, how to treat each other. You know, so if you're at the beginning relationship and you decide to let things just slide, oh, it's going to be different when we get married. It'll be different when I show them, or it's going to be different. No, that's who they are. Love them and say, can I be with this person right where they are for the rest of my life?
Or we get into this false thing of I can change them or things will change. To your point, no, you got to accept them for who they are. Look at where you are right now, you
And,
know.
mhm.
Um,
And if you're already in a place where emotional expression, I think that people call, what do young people call it now? Intelligence, emotional
yeah.
intelligence.
Hmm.
They come up from any old kind of word. I need someone that's emotional intelligent. If
Somebody
you
that's
have to
able
ask
to,
somebody that,
yeah, they
and
trying
if
to,
you have to make that a question, that tell me you must be Ray Charles. You know what I mean? You must be blind. It's like, I don't need you to tell me you're not emotional intelligent. I'm sitting here talking to you, trying to get to know you.
Mhm.
So hopefully I know that. That's like the same thing, you know, my big thing about uh, a woman saying that she's independent. And I always say, you'll never hear a man say that. You know why? Because you can see. Just like we can see who you are. So if you're going to tell me you're independent and you're an alpha and all this other stuff, I'm like, what are you trying to tell me?
Well, we haven't gotten to that point
We
yet. We're
will. Yeah, I'm sorry. I
still
jumped
talking
ahead.
about emotional expressions that one of us also another viewpoint is one is they freely express their emotions while the other person may be one that is quiet and more reserved and less likely to talk about their feelings. At some point, for relationships to move forward, you got to do some talking about your feelings and what you're thinking about things in order to move forward.
Now, I know some going to say, you know this. Some people know from marriage, or they say that the person changed, right?
Oh, okay. Hmm.
So then it's our responsibility to find out what happened
Yeah.
as a couple. It's not him or she.
Hmm.
It's what's going on in our relationship. That's a quick sign we need help. We're not talking. Why are they shutting down? You know, a lot of us will make, you know, excuses, you know, his family, or, you know, she's used to being this and that, instead of getting help.
Hmm.
Um, Independence versus togetherness. I'm gonna let you start off. Go ahead.
Well, um, there are some people they want you to spend all your time with them. They enjoy doing things together, and that's fine. But then there are others, you can call it independents, who enjoy being more autonomous, doing things without the influence of others, and they call that independent. We had this conversation where we have things that uh, we do that we enjoy without each other. Like you play golf, I can't play because of my back issues, but that doesn't stop me from going to uh, accompany you on some of the games sometimes. But that's something you really love and enjoy doing. I, on the other hand, I'm kind of creative and artistic. I like drawing and painting and those kind of things uh, that I do by myself. That periodically you can join me in doing those. So some people prefer the independent things and some people prefer togetherness. But I think as a couple you ought to be able to do a little bit of both. But what's your take on that?
You know, I'm on a different take than you on
Mhm.
this
Mhm.
independence, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Because I hear people say, some single people, oh, when you get married, you know, All of a sudden you got to answer to somebody. They've been answering to their job. They've been answering to everything else. You don't have to answer to me. I mean, we're married. We talk to each other. You're not my boss. I'm not your boss. So I don't think when you, at least in my relationship and the people that I be around, I've never seen people who talk lose their what they call independence. What I always say is we're interdependent on each other.
Yeah.
I hear a lot of people say, "Well, I never tell a man I need him," I want him, and I'm like, why are you gonna be with somebody if you don't need and want them? That don't mean that I can't function without you, but
Right.
I need and want the person that I plan on marrying, that I didn't marry. So me, saying I'm independent when you're in a relationship and you say, "Oh, I'm independent." I don't know, when a woman says that to a man, I know a man thinks, "Well, you don't need me. Why am I here?" That's what most men think. So what does that mean? You don't hear a man say I'm independent.
But
So,
are the women who say, I'm sorry to cut you off, are the women who say that, are they married or not?
I've
Most
seen
of
it
them.
both ways.
Oh,
I've seen it both ways. So I don't really
Mhm.
get that.
Mhm.
It's about being together.
Yeah.
Together don't mean that we're tied at the hip. It means that we're partners. We're moving it forward. So
I think you said it.
Terrence back there real quick, man. You got anything on this independence?
Now,
I'm
Terrence,
calling
Terrence always got something he can say.
he's doing stuff. This is our producer. We're at Ready Therapy Network. But what I'm saying is, he's married. He got up married. He has a life. His wife has a life. But I don't never think a brother thinks I'm independent. You got any thoughts on
to
that?
your point,
I'm talking to him now. Look
I
at
don't
you.
hear men say that either. So I mean,
Yeah.
I get
But
what
you hear on
everybody.
I'm
I hear it.
independent and
I hear it.
and a man don't want no independent women. And yeah, they sure don't. No, I don't. No, we don't. Well, is something wrong that I don't want you? I want us to depend on each other. I want us to be interdependent. I want us to be partners. You got to explain that to me. Maybe Terrence, you got anything on that?
I always say that, talk about independence. That means other, right? Build and space, on an operating space. There
We know that one. Your girlfriend or your wife going out in a short, we call them mini skirts. And now they booty, I don't know what they call them, booties or something. I don't know what they call, but you see everything. And as a husband, as a boyfriend, they're saying men don't have the right to say, "Yeah, I'm concerned, not about what you are wearing. I'm concerned about the reaction that you will get from some men and maybe some women. So I have a concern. Am I going to tell you not to wear it? Hopefully, by talking to you and letting you know my concerns, you'll take that into account. Just like you ain't gonna let me go out, looking like a clown, with some black. Come on, girl. If I went on golfing and I had my old man black socks on, pulled all the way up to my knees, I know every one of y'all out there be like, "Baby, you can't go out like that." And most of y'all buy our clothes anyway.
To your point, yes,
Yeah.
sir, indeed. Um, you're right. You're right, because you know what? I know that if you were going out looking any kind of way but appropriate, I would have something to say about that. So I don't see why that doesn't go both ways. But then too, I feel like a man who is concerned about his woman is going to say something if they feel like what's being worn is going to provoke something in the public atmosphere, because you never know what's going to happen.
And it's just
out there.
not clothing. It's like checking in on each
Yes,
other when you're
absolutely.
going to wherever,
Absolutely.
and call and say, I made it there safe.
Mm-hmm.
And now I hear people say, that's controlling. And I'm like, no, that's what we call protection and concern.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess I'm old school.
Well, that's part of another reason why we're doing podcasts is to give people some other thinking points to help them know that in relationships it's not all one way. It is there are other ways that people have of thinking about things. You know, when a man is checking you about anything, he's really asking you to think about it on another level. I think,
Yeah.
you know,
I'm
as
telling
we
you, I'm
should.
concerned.
Yeah.
I'm concerned.
Mhm.
It's I'm
Mhm.
concerned,
Mhm.
not concerned about your behavior
Mhm.
and maybe other people's behavior.
Mhm.
And in general, like driving and you go somewhere or I go somewhere, I'll call you and let you know I made it there.
Mhm.
That's just to me. That's just being respectful of you in our relationship to let you know, hey, I plan on doing so and so. Same thing when people, before I retired, they said, well, let's go out to so and so. I said, hey, let me call home and check on my wife
Mhm.
because I don't know what you have planned. You could have a surprise for me, or
Right.
you need me home. I don't know.
Right.
That's not control. That's respect for each
Mhm.
other.
Mhm.
And I guess they look at it different now. Everything is someone's trying to control someone just by showing concern.
And you know what? A lot of times it's not just what's being said, but it's how it's being said. For you, say I'm going out in some, where you going in that, looking like that, and blah 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 blah. Versus, babe, are you sure you want to wear that? I'm not really feeling that or liking it. I'm concerned. You know, sometimes how things are said and the approach is something else to think about as well. So,
I think into even in our marriage until you got a point where you look beyond what y'all call tone. We have gotten there where
mhm,
I look
mhm,
beyond the way you may move your head or something because I know who you are. I know
mhm,
you're not trying to harm me. I
mhm,
know that you're not abusive. So when people say, "Oh, you really have to watch your tone," I
mhm,
know my partner, right? So if they're having in
mhm,
a bad mood and they sound a certain way,
mhm,
you have to get to a point where you look past that and say, what are they saying to me?
mhm,
Then later on, I want to hear the message, you know,
mhm, mhm.
and it's not always going to come out right. And that's what we want. We
Yeah.
want everything to be perfect when we talk and communicate, but it's not. But if it's with your partner, I
Mhm,
know your heart.
mhm,
I know that
mhm,
you got my back. You're there for me.
mhm,
So if you have, talking to me crazy, I'm not gonna. Oh, see, yeah, this disrespectful.
mhm. I get
We're
it.
not accomplishing anything. So what I'm gonna do is say, let me listen to what they're
To
trying
what
to
they're
tell me
saying.
and
Mhm,
ask them.
mhm,
After I
mhm,
listen, I'll ask you. I'll say, how you doing?
mhm.
You know.
You know, it takes me back to a point one time at church when you were having a meeting, and it wasn't one of those ministries that I was involved in. But when I got there, I came in and I sat in on your meeting, and you said, "I'll get with you in a little bit. We'll be done in a few." Well, I understood that to mean, you know, this is you're not part of this meeting. And one of the ladies said, "Girl, if my husband had asked me out, I would." I said, "Girl, there was no big deal. I didn't want to be necessarily in that meeting. I was just that was my way of letting him know I made it here, and it was So to your point, I know you, and so what sounded harsh to her, it was like, no, that's not a big deal. That's not. I didn't take it that way. So we're fine, you know.
It's how we
So you
take in
got to know.
information.
Okay. Oh, now you handle this other one because our kids told us not to talk about this one.
Other things that'll be perpetual is frequency of physical intimacy
Mhm.
and having an understanding what that means to each other.
Mhm.
You know, when we're young and we're guys, men are, little Joe always ready. Yeah. we
Well,
come
there's some
home.
little
it's like,
James that are too.
oh, okay. But these are things that you have
But,
to talk about.
yeah.
Um, I know you as my wife that if I want to participate,
Mhm.
that I need to start early in the morning from the time I wake up, with calls, just regular stuff I do, but
Mhm.
making you know that without saying, you know, hey, before you get home, I'm gonna stop and get something to eat we had kids for the kids. You ain't
Mhm.
gotta cook,
Mhm.
or tonight I got the dishes.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
you can relax, or I'm gonna cook and take care of everything so you can get your little time in. I'm preparing.
Right.
And sometimes like women, like you would tell me, just hey, just a kiss, just a touch, is
Mhm.
the great intimacy for you. When I
Mhm.
was young, I ain't the touch all that. I'm trying to trying to get it, get in. As you get older, you learn. You
Mhm.
learn. So these are things you have to talk about instead of saying, "Oh, he just want to jump on me." And no, talk about it.
It seems like it's always one of you who wants more intimate physical intimacy, and the other one not as much. But there has to be a meeting point so that both of you are satisfied, and you got to pick up the cues from one another, and you got to work with whatever you've talked about. You got to talk. Sometimes you got to talk about what turns you on. You got to talk about what you like. And, to be honest, nobody really teaches you on that or schools you on that until you get in the relationship. And if you're mature enough to talk about what you like, you've said so many times, focus on what you like more than what you don't like. So the person, they at least know to focus on what it is you do like. And that can only happen when you talk. And a lot of times, you also have to understand that physical intimacy doesn't just involve the physical. There's an emotional side to it. There's a side that I need to see and have before we get to the physical, you know. Now, most of the time, and you can't use this for everybody, most of the time, men are ready all the time, and women don't necessarily, um, men don't necessarily have to have, a prior notice or whatever. They ready whenever. So, what do you
But
think?
women, I'm glad you said it because women, what? Sometimes y'all want notice.
Well, it's been said, and I've heard this many times. We're like an iron. You got to plug us up for us to warm up, for we hot and ready. Whereas y'all are like a match. You just strike it and it's on fire. You know.
So, what do you think about that? I think that's just some people have scheduled sex, and other people may look at it as like, man, that's crazy. But if that works for you,
If that
if
works
that
for
works for
you,
you, and I see my partner over here, our producer, he's shaking his head like, should I have to tell you in advance? Not always, but
not always,
sometimes
but I
I
think
may need. It
sometimes it
depends what kind of
helps.
woman, yeah, I
Hmm.
have that I need to tell. Like, hey, I got this. I know I'm gonna be ready tomorrow. I'm
Hmm.
doing this at work or whatever,
Hmm.
and I'm gonna want something tomorrow.
Hmm.
The same with you. You tell me like a week in advance. Hear my calendar.
Look, I put things on the calendar so you know what's gonna be going on, and you know where to slide in.
Yeah,
Okay.
we have
So,
Freaky Friday,
oh
Touchy
gosh,
Tuesday. It's on my phone. It just pops up. So I ain't
ladies,
got no excuse. It'd be like, oh, the day so and so day.
Look, ladies, I had to come up with some little sayings to bring in a little creativity. You can come up with your own stuff. You might want to do more than touching on Tuesday. You might want to do some movements on Monday. What
That's
can
what you
I
call
say?
Monday, Movement
You know,
Monday.
so it's like, hey, come up with your own little thing and put it on the calendar so everybody know this the day. This is what the day is. Okay, so get with the program, bruh. You know. So, ladies, my challenge to you is, what can you name your day to make it a little bit more interesting around the house, you know? And if you got to post it up around the house where you know you're going to be, post it up so you can get whatever it is that you need. That's all I got to
Yeah,
say.
it's advanced. I
Okay.
know every week, her theme for something. That don't always mean that we go through it, but most of the time we do it. Singing, playing a game,
Dancing. We have a
dancing in the
slow
house
dance
together.
Sunday, you know.
Yeah, so it rotates, it changes. And a lot of people say, I don't have the time. Even if you give yourself
Hmm.
a minute, and
Hmm.
say, hey, let's a minute to hold each other, a minute to dance, a minute to say, I love you. If you don't have a minute in your life, in your partnership,
Hmm.
something's going on. It's not even.
Yeah.
It really is not
It.
even. Somebody is carrying too much of a load
Hmm.
if you can't find
Hmm.
5 minutes, 10 minutes,
Hmm.
half an hour in your day to appreciate each other.
Yeah. And it opens the door for other things to happen that shouldn't happen when you're not making time for one another. Even as believers in Christ, when you don't make time to spend with God, your relationship uh, for you is going to suffer. So we have to take the time to make the time for one another.
I remember we had a couple, and they were saying there's no time, and she was saved. She says, I'm up at 5 o'clock in the morning praying to the Lord, and then in the evening, I'm looking, brother looking at me, and I'm like, now she got all that time
Mhm.
for all of this, and can't find no time for brother.
Mhm.
That's an imbalance. That's an imbalance.
Yeah, and yeah, we
Yeah,
can
it
be.
sounds good when you're saying, yeah,
Mhm.
I'm
Mhm.
praying to the Lord that we have something that we can bring this marriage together in this relationship. And brother just said, I just want some time. I just need a little bit of your time.
Mhm.
And I'm not taking time away from the Lord. You're giving him honor and blessing when you honoring your relationship.
I'm trying
It
my
represents it.
in my mind. I'm trying hard not to go there with craziness. Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
some of that time.
yeah.
Yeah, some of that time you could give to the Lord.
We kind of covered emotional intimacy. And when we saying perpetual, these are things that we encounter when we're coaching people and talking to people, and they're in their marriage. So some of these things we're telling you, you should talk about them.
Hmm.
It's never too late,
Right,
right?
right.
Only your mindset of
Hmm.
saying
Hmm.
this is how it is, they're not going to change, and you talk to everyone except your partner,
Hmm.
or you say they don't listen. I'll be like, text them then. If they interrupt you all the time, text them, let them know what you think and what's going on. That give them time to consume it. They may look at it first, no, but all this text, I don't need all this extra stuff, right? But then they'll read it again. And usually, two
Hmm.
things happen. When you're texting someone that you care for, sometimes you'll see you in there, the reflection like,
Hmm.
man, I'm really not, that don't even sound right.
Hmm.
And what am I doing about it? Because in our relationship, we have this thing, don't come with problems, come with solutions
Hmm.
to the problem,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Finance, I'll start that off. My
Okay.
thing is finance is not the number one reason that people divorce. Lack of communication is.
Hmm.
Um, from what we see, people who have separate bank accounts, it just from what we see. It may work for you. If it's working for you and you got no complaints, hey, keep doing what's working for you. But most people that come to us, they're about ready to get a divorce. It's the lack of communication, and because they don't know what the other person is doing with their finances.
They're
I
offended.
just gave you money. How you gonna need money? You got that Beckin purse, whatever they call it, and you got this Gucci thing, and you got this around your neck. How you need money? Look at that car you have, baby. Look where your money going at. That means you're not. You're just a couple roommates.
Yeah, and then they become offended when they find that money is being spent elsewhere on something else or someone else or something else.
Yeah, something they
and
don't
and
approve
it's
on.
or it's when one person has total financial freedom, don't have any responsibilities to help with the household or even bills or whatever, and the other is eaten up with trying to pay all the debts, the bills, and feel like they're just being smothered in debt, that causes resentment. And again, that goes back to lack of communication and not talking. um, it's always a problem when when you have different accounts, when you find out something that you didn't know about the other person's spending habits or saving habits. Even I didn't know you had that much money, and here I am over here, I'm struggling, and blah 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 blah. Well, if it was together or you had a household account, and then you constantly kept each other, advised on what's going on, it would not be that problem.
Yeah.
And it's hard to make people see that. Now, here's the other thing that we found. Some people are very irresponsible with monies and spending, but that is something that, please, you must pay attention to that before you get involved or get married to someone. Pay attention to the spending habits and uh, the debt and that sort of thing, because it means something later.
Well, I'm back to this.
Hmm.
For one, saying, oh, I see couples. Oh, this is the household money, right?
Hmm.
And this is our money. All the bills are paid. You know what I mean? Rather how they do it, 60/40, whatever it is. You're not planning, you're not purposing your money. You're just paying bills. You're not making plans to build anything together, because part of the money's over here, part of the money's over here. So we understand compound interest. If I have, $5 and it compounds, right?
Hmm.
If I have 10, it's going to be more.
It compounds more.
So you may think that we're paying all the bills. You become roommates. Y'all have no dream or vision
Or goals.
or goals together. So
Mhm.
when it's together, you have goals and visions. When you purpose your money, your partner's not over there saying, why you bought them 24-inch rims, right? You have already come together and said, these are some of the things that we're going to do.
Mhm.
So you don't get that, jealousy or envy, whatever is going on inside of you, because you don't see why they need to have that. I've seen that in people. I had this thing where the ladies were asking me, "You with my husband all the time? What does he want?" And I said he wants a new set of golf clubs. He don't need no new clubs. Now that is so selfish, but you don't see it like that.
Mhm.
That same man, when you want, it's called a Beckin bag or whatever them bags are, right? Birkin bag, right? Brother don't be saying you don't need the bag. Okay, baby, that's what you want for Mother's Day. You got it. Most men, huh? Yeah, if you got it like that. But I'm saying that's the difference. Sometimes it's in relationships. It shouldn't be like that. I'm not going to control you what your needs and wants are. we're going to control it by purposing our money. Um, I always tell everybody, I don't say no to my wife. Why? Because she's my partner and she's not going to ask me for something I can't afford. She's not going to ask me for a Range Rover when she know my pockets can only afford, I don't know, a Honda.
A Subaru.
Yeah, there's something wrong with your partner if they asking you for something that they know you can't afford. Asking you for, like he said, a $5,000, bag. You lost your mind. Well, my friend have one, and and he fooling around. Yeah, you had one, and your car already broke. Yeah, you have one. You live in an apartment. You have one. Y'all go out on your anniversary to ain't nothing wrong with this now. You go out the anniversary to one of them fast food places. But you got your bag. He got his rims. But when you purpose your money and you have goals and you have a vision, you get rid of all of that arguing and all of this where, it's not even, it's not right. All of that goes out the window when you have vision and you have purpose.
I think too, there's a sense of accomplishment as a couple together when you have set a goal and you reach that goal together, and you know the sacrifice that it took for both of you, or you know the energy that it took for the both of you to stick to that goal, accomplish that task, and you say, look what we did, and not just what I did or she did or he did, but look what we did together. We got this, we did this, we built this. I just think it helps you to feel more accomplished together as a couple when you have a goal that you reach together.
Once you're in a marriage or a relationship and you hear, you know, man, I got a promotion in my job because I so and 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 so, and I did all of this and did all of that, and you don't recognize your input from your partner, that they gave you peace, they help you go through school, all the things that they do, and you just busy saying, what I accomplished, you have problems right there. I know as a man, I don't know how it is for a woman. I know I'm sitting there, oh, 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 you did all of that, huh? You just rose to the top, right? You know, I wasn't here taking care of them kids. I wasn't here putting food on the table. I wasn't here giving you study time. You know, times when you had to work extra at your job. So you just did it all on yourself, education and all. Girl, go with your bad self. But when you're talking like that, we don't notice it. And, you know, I use that example. She putting her head down because she know what I'm saying. I like to tell this story. All my sister-in-laws and my wife, they're in a room and they're talking. They're talking about their jobs and how much work they do around the house, you know. Woo,
working like Hebrew
slaves. And I'm in the room with my brother-in-law's fellas, and I said, I know my sweetie boo in my head. I got them like this. I'm looking at them as each one of their wives say something off the wall. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm doing this. And yeah, he just come home. Da-da-da-da-da. I said, okay, here come my time. Here come my wife. Girl, I know what you mean. My head done went down in front of the fellas. They laughing, and I'm like, is she really? Nah, I'm doing the dishes. I'm mopping the floor. She didn't just say that. So when we got in the car, it ain't like other brothers. We got in the car. I said, boo. I said, did I treat you that bad, baby? I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing the dishes enough, taking out the trash, doing the floor. I'm so sorry. Yeah, yeah. I'm being as, what you call that? When you be like that? What do you call that, bro? facetious as I want to be.
Mhm.
I'm being petty as I want to be. Girl, I didn't know it was that bad for you. Hebrew slave, no sir. You know, there she had the little cute smile on her face. Baby, I just got caught up. I said, caught up. What we're trying to say, when you're around family, friends, sometimes when you're young and don't know no better, you get caught up in somebody else's mess. You start agreeing, men ain't no good. Yeah, girl, you start buying in. You got a good man. And you just right there like, yeah. And
Now,
then
do
later
men
on,
do that?
no, we ain't got time for all that baby
Wait a
stuff.
minute.
You think we be
Yeah.
around like
Wait a minute. Men don't be out there talking about their wives or all day. All day. See?
No, I'm gonna tell
This
you
what
what
I'm
men
talking
do.
about.
Like
Mhm.
you know the people I surround myself with. Any brother that's out there telling me, and they'll tell you, "Oh man, my wife ain't this and ain't that." I look at them. I said, "Oh, because I'm playing and this how men play." I be like, Terrence, you can't handle up. You ain't hitting it right. What's wrong, T? Because he complaining about his wife and saying he wants to be the head, right? And I'm like, oh, look like you wearing the dress there, bro. What's up? You need some help? You need some pointers, tips, or something like that? I'm trying to tell the brother, like, yo, man, you've been right all this time, doing the right thing. What happened? But I do it in a playful, fun manner to make a brother start thinking. What do you do, Terrence? I know you ain't out there complaining, right? No, he not. Nah, we most men at certain you become solution orientated. That's how we're kind of like built. So when a brother starts downing his wife, he's really talking about himself. And if he don't have a friend around who can really check him and say, "Hold up, I know you. I know you can make a change here. What have you done? Have you gone to counseling? Have you changed your position? Have you changed the way that you are approaching the problem? Tell me what you have done. Tell me what's working instead of just sitting there complaining." Because I don't know, Terrence. I don't know what you be saying, but I just huh? When they say when they say they done tried everything and they done did therapy and they done did the whole nine, right? And it ain't changed, then I think that's when you're letting someone go beyond your boundaries. Some things that I'm not just going to go there, right? So that's when you have to. I'm not calling it ultimatum. What I call it is, I'll say to you, I said, that behavior, I'm not telling you to change, but that behavior affects me in a way that's not healthy for me. So you can continue that, but I can't continue on that path with you. What would you like to do about it? Did I answer your question? Not enough?
No, listen, you are absolutely right. You're probably in a thing called family court, and you're ready to lose all of your stuff.
Oh, you think that's why you better know who you married, right? We talk about the prenup and all that. I don't, but I don't particularly believe in the prenuptial, but I see how people nowadays have to protect themselves because they're getting their girlfriends and off of Instagram and TikTok. I'm sorry to say that. Another celebrity, that who they've been with and all that old craziness, right? And then you expecting a different outcome. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, that's real. That's real.
yeah. So I believe in responsibility. So when women are telling me there's no good men, right?
And vice versa.
Yeah, I'm focused on the women. You can get on the men.
Mm-hmm.
When I hear a woman say there's no good men, I'm like, oh, I'm no good. Oh, I'm not talking about you. Your dad. Some of their dads ain't, but your dad. How about that friend I see you with? How about Margie's husband? Who are you talking about? You're talking about where people you have encountered, or maybe not even that. Maybe what other people were saying, and now you done put that into your thing. It's like when we talk about, sometimes when we talk about black people, oh, black people don't do this. If we crabs in the barrel and we this and that. And I'm like, you not seeing your president? Are you not seeing what rich people do? I mean, why do you think it's people?
It's people.
Yeah, we ain't nobody's no difference. It got bad apples in everyone.
Every culture.
So stop saying in our culture that there's something
They were
less
the worst.
about us. I know we digress talking about that, but
Yeah.
yes, stop. I just tell people who hold accountable. I'm not going to let someone, say, this is my pepper. Black women are not protected.
Oh, that's a lot of been in a lot
And
of
I'm like,
discussions.
yeah, I'm like, if you got a son, I know how I treat most men I know treat their mom.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Or
Their sisters.
their aunts.
Yeah, how
their-
protected they are. So I really be like, where is black men not protecting black women
Mhm. As a whole.
as a whole, as a group?
As a
Yeah,
whole.
there's some out there, that will attack, but that's always like it seems like the minority, the small minority that says something like on the internet.
Mhm.
It's millions of people watching the internet. One person, 3 people, 4 people say something off the chain. So they want a reaction. They want to get seen and known. And then they'll take that and say, that's how we're treated, or that's how they're at, off of one person or 5 people. I just find that I'm wondering what environment you're around, and how can you change your environment of the people that you interact with if you have that sentiment that you're not protected, or our culture is somehow less than, because that's when you say all of that, what you're saying is that somehow we're less than.
Yeah, somebody has to be bold enough to um, change the dialogue and ask the questions to make them think past how they're labeling us as a whole, to keep it to those few that you're talking about, because we're all not to be in that, in that category.
Don't put us all into one box.
Hmm. Hmm.
We're not monolithic, as
Yeah.
we said. We're all different. We all have our, problems and disagrees, whatever how you say that.
And part of us in terms of our perpetual issues is
See how my
something
wife
that
got us back on the
that
subject.
we always have to know that somebody else other than us is dealing with some of the same issues and problems, and that's part of life. Learn how to work it out instead of running away from it, because the more you don't face and don't come up with a solution, the more problems you're going to have.
Perpetual issues, family ties.
Yeah. One person is close to their family, the other person don't want to spend time
And they always try to
with family.
point it like you just say.
Mhm.
Like, brother, he ain't. No. Both of you can be close to your family,
Yeah.
but you have a family member who is disrespectful, right? Always got something negative to say, right?
Mhm.
Everybody got in the family that family member that ain't married, and then everybody's bad. Everybody ain't this and this and then they, and the conversation that's going on, and then you be like, "Why I want to come around that on my holiday when all you're gonna talk about is how bad,
Mhm.
men are,
Mhm.
uh, or how bad whatever it is, but it's
Whatever it
mostly
is. Mhm.
how bad men are." And then you say, well, he ain't close to his family. Yeah, I'm not close to him, but I still wouldn't take that from anywhere. They had this one on the internet, and someone asked you, brother was like, my mama is coming, and this happens a lot in relationships. my mama need to come live with us.
Mm-hmm.
Are you talking about the same mama that called me trash? Say I ain't no good, I ain't good enough for you, and you want her to come live here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'll help you out because I'll start. If a family member is disrespectful to me and wants to come into my home, that's not happening. But this is things that you talk about before marriage because how could you turn away my mama? How could no? I'll help your mama in any way that I can. But and if you can talk to your mama before she comes here and let her know you protect me. I'm talking from a man's point of view.
Mm-hmm.
I need you to protect me. Let her understand that this is my house, our house,
Mm-hmm.
that things run different than what she's supposed to see. And
Mm-hmm.
if she does something that I find hurtful and disrespectful, I need you to have my back
Mm-hmm.
if she comes into the house.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, let's figure out something place for her to go. I'm not telling you to abandon your mother.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm saying is don't abandon us.
Mm-hmm.
And
that goes both ways.
yeah, I was just talking
Yeah.
about from
Yeah, that goes
what I hear
both
men
ways.
say.
Yeah. Because a woman would want to be respected.
Mother-in-law,
Yeah. A woman would want to be protected as well. So
And we've had that.
yeah,
We experienced that
mm-hmm.
at the beginning of our marriage. My mom came to live with us. We talked about it. We have the rules, and my mom became a little bit overprotective of me because I'm her son, and she started to sometimes say some things that were hurtful. And I had to nip it in the bud. That's my mom, who I love and do anything for, but I had to protect her. And then and it's the conversation that I had. It's in my book too. The conversation was, "Mom, I know you want me to be happy. I'm very happy being with Lana, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know you don't, want us to have any friction. That you're rooting for us, and so, but I think this is me talking to her to get to where I want to go.
Mm-hmm.
I think, some of the things she's not used to hearing, sensitive. It's not how she was raised and all that kind of stuff. What do you think we can do about this? And my mom, she understood. She understood. But those of you who have to have that conversation because, as a man, your mother, me, was my grandmother. She came visit me wherever I was.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife could not do anything right. She couldn't cook it right. she didn't, do this iron. She just couldn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's my grandmother. We wouldn't both say she coming to visit me and said, I had to say something. Because I had to, and my grandmother, my mother, they respect me. Then they said, yeah, this is the kind of man that I raised you to be. This is the kind of man I
Mm-hmm.
want you to be.
Mm-hmm.
It
Mm-hmm.
dawns on them when you talk, when you have
Yeah.
a conversation.
Yeah. And then talk about how it ended with your mom. That she came to live with us
Yeah,
again.
we never had, she, at the end, she came, live with us again, and, so everything worked out. But you have to have dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just be saying, that's my mother, that's my son, and that's this and that,
Mm-hmm.
because you're going to end up in a bad place. And it's not about compromising,
Mm-hmm.
it's about understanding with each other. So, but I see that, we see that a lot, people get old and, I need mom, mom lost her job or something happened,
Yeah.
or dad, whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
And we have an obligation
Mm-hmm.
first
To one another.
to one another.
And that's biblical.
Yeah.
And that's biblical. And the thing about it too is you learn to work through your problems together because you don't never know where life is going to take you. You don't never know what kind of sickness you're going to have, what you're going to lose in life. It may be home, money, health, any of those things. And if you're married for any time in life,
Treat that son-in-law right. Treat him right.
and that daughter-in-law,
I'm gonna skip over
Just-
and we're gonna kind of end it on this.
Be good to people. Treat them like you would want to be treated. Bottom line.
Perpetual things is having children, stepchildren, grown sons that still living in your house, grown children or grandchildren that have to move in with you. These are things that you be like, that's perpetual. Well,
yeah, I mean,
you
life
seen
be
that
life.
you with her and you loving her,
Life
and you
be
see her
life.
son or daughter ain't moving in the right direction. They always in one of the spouse's partner's pocket. They always need something once, and you marry them. You think that all of a sudden that's gonna change. Oh no, it's not. No, it's not.
Or if it does change, then it's created a great big problem.
That's why that's once again, everything's about communication, discussion, and having boundaries in line. So you sit down. When I came into our family, I sat down with our daughter, and first we talked, and I said, I'm gonna treat her no different than I would treat my daughters, even though that's gonna be strange for her, right? It's going to be strange and maybe even uncomfortable for her. But she's going to notice how I always treat you and talk to you. So that's my starting point, is she sees how much I love you and how anything, then we did the, taking her out for dates, just having, talking. But we had things where you had to, let me handle it.
Right.
How I said appropriate as a man. But if we didn't have this counseling and we didn't talk about this before, it would have been a problem. But we came to not compromise. We came to agreement of how our house would run. And if you have one of them childish, you sit down after you and them talk, and you're sitting in front of them and you say, here's our rules. And they like, I'm grown and I shouldn't have to do that. And all of a sudden you came in and you changed. Whatever child that is belongs to that blood. The other one needs to protect them by saying, no, this is what we came to an agreement about. We have decided.
And
Don't
get ready for them to be mad, but they'll get over it when they
say it again.
Get ready for them to be mad. Because they will, when they see you work together and they see you treating each other with respect and caring, in time, it will change.
They ain't got nowhere to go anyway. What choice they got anyway? I'll just be a messy. So we're going to kind of end it there. We're going to talk about religion. Last, I tell them how you tricked me about that talking in tongue thing. Waited till we got married and got up in the church and just ran. I'm sitting there, everybody, right? I come from Baptist. She's holiness, and we cool. We talked about, Corinthians and Acts. Like in Acts, they're talking about tongues. And over here, they said an unknown tongue, but that's in parentheses, which means somebody added that. But anyway, so I'm sitting in the church, chilling next to my beautiful wife. All of a sudden, she gets up and gets to running. And I'm looking, everybody, hey! And I'm like, what's going on here? I'm looking around, and she just happy. So we got through that. But then I had to tell her, I said, see them, if every week I need you to be happy. Because not, they're going to be looking and wonder what's going on in our marriage. So I need you to do that run at least once every Sunday, baby. Because they'll start looking at us, talking about, hey, what's going on in their marriage? So you're going to get in shape, baby. Get that run on. Hey, we always love having fun with y'all.
Y'all see what I'm working with, right? You see what I'm working with. Okay.
Y'all see the core two behind there. That's our LLC, but we are calling all marriages.
Calling all marriages. God is calling for us to represent him in our marriages, because marriage was his idea. Okay. He made it, and we can't put no shame on it by having bad marriages. That's why we are here, to help you out, because helping you out helps us out.
Oh yeah, because we
Mm-hmm.
had to go over this stuff before, and then we always see ourselves.
And we got to
See what we
practice it
went
ourselves. Like, what did we just
through.
what did we just talk about?
Yeah,
I
ain't
know
that you right there? And we appreciate you. We're gonna in about 2 weeks we're gonna start coming back on once a week. Start pushing more content. We're back at our home, the Radiotherapy Network, with our producer, Terrence.
Mr. Terrence Jackson
Yes,
himself.
Mr. Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're back here with Terrence Jackson. We encourage everyone out there, the ministers, the people who have a opinion, and that's everyone, to leave a legacy. Being on a podcast, long time after I'm gone, my great greats would look back and they'd be like, "That's where I come from, that silly dude. How he get that beautiful wife? I got hope. I got a chance." So this is a way of leaving a legacy. Either of you come on and do this. I want you to think about this. When my grandmother passed away, I didn't have all the information that I needed from her life. To have someone on a podcast of your family, and leave a legacy of having them on a show with you to talk about them. Think how powerful that would be, because kids are always surprised when we find out our parents struggled too. You went through that? What? Mama, you dated him, Mama? Daddy, what was you thinking?
Yeah.
But that builds, it builds. You don't have to grow up like in the Bible. I remember when I was young, I thought every character in the Bible had no sin. Every one of them disciples was good. The man of faith, you know what I mean? I'm like, everybody good in here. And then when I learned and started talking, I said, oh, they have flaws.
Yes,
they got character issues.
It's a real paid place up in the Bible in some stories.
Yeah, it gave me a redemption.
Yeah.
That I know that, I don't have to be perfect. You know what I mean? Be holiness, righteousness, but I'm not going to be perfect. And when you know that about your parents, because we are representatives of God, that's who they see. They don't see God, they see the God in us. So anyway, that was just my little rant. You got one before we leave, sweetie boo?
No, I was just going to wrap up with our let's communicate and talk later.
We are calling all marriages. Thank you again. Look for us in 2 weeks. We will be promoting a lot of things that we have a guest on. Hopefully, when our producer gets back, that he will do a show with us about men. Just me and him talking, and my wife will be, we call it, asking us questions.
The moderator asking questions, the narrator, something.
Yeah, moderator. She's going to be asking
I'll do
all
whatever
questions.
Y'all ask me to do.
So she's going to get a whole bunch of questions from her friends.
Oh, my.
Hopefully, and people, all of y'all, friends, our family, just email us.
Yeah, ladies, please send some questions that you want to ask these men to answer. Help me out. I'm going to need your help. Really.
Yeah, because she married to me, so she ain't got a lot of questions.
My. But y'all do. Y'all do. Okay? Y'all
Love
do.
Y'all. Peace and blessings.
All right.